All right, let's jump right into this. Obviously, it's a big day for you guys. It's a big day for the big guy. Um, any issues so far with tracking Santa as he's made his way across the globe?
None, Bobby. Our sensors are working well. So he took off about 11 hours ago out of the North Pole, flew down the coast past Russia along the international date line, and he's been making that north-south zigzag ever since. Santa never files a flight plan for us, unfortunately, so we do have to track him with our own sensors, but he's the best aviator we've ever seen, so we're impressed.
Uh, how long would it take him to, be flight rated in the highest and the most updated jet technology that the U.S. Air Force has?
I'd say, quite frankly, Santa adds the magic to his technology and just blows us away. He travels at the speed of starlight. We're still working on traveling about 5 times the speed of sound with our technology. So it's a whole different universe when you add the magic to it.
When Santa approaches the east coast of the United States, obviously you have jets up and down the east coast seaboard at ready alert. What is the protocol? How do you guys determine who takes what sector when he starts approaching the U.S.?
So fortunately, this is exactly what NORAD does all day, every day. So we have our sectors ready to go. We know Santa's approximate pattern is that north-south zigzag moving westbound. So we know that starting with Eastern Canada, we've got fighters on alert in case he needs an escort, all the way down through Florida and then back through the rest of the United States and Canada. We are ready to go if he wants to see us, and really if he wants to be seen. Then he'll let himself show on our radars and in person, and it's a real kick for our pilots to get to actually make that intercept and wave to the big man himself.
That's got to be such a really cool experience. I have to ask you, with some of the news in the headlines lately, obviously there's talk about lots of drones. How are you
Sure.
working that technology in to try and track that, and then additionally tracking Santa when he does enter U.S. airspace?
You bet. So drones have been a part of our flight construct for a long time. Now that we're seeing a higher count of drones, you've got a lot of agencies across both the US and Canada, from the FBI to Department of Homeland Security to local law enforcement, and sometimes NORAD, if you really do get into the larger scale drones, involved in policing those. So they are a thing. Like I said at the beginning, Santa is such an incredible aviator, and he moves with such grace through the sky that whether it be a thunderstorm or a drone swarm, I have no concerns about him hitting his target on time and getting to everybody's house. So it's going to be just fine.
Would you guys scramble a jet or a pair of jets to help Santa if you guys were seeing drone technology or stuff that you weren't really sure that pops up on radar?
Yeah, I would certainly expect so. And we haven't seen that situation yet, but like I said, our specialty is transitioning from those ground-based radar sensors or overhead infrared sensors that track Rudolph's nose to that visual intercept where we get our fighters up there to either help an aircraft in need, in this case, a sleigh in need, or to just make sure that we're aware of everything going on in our airspace. So what we've noticed is Santa is so fast that when he doesn't want to be tracked by our fighters or intercepted, then we don't get to him. But when he wants to be tracked, and then that's his way of saying hi or possibly asking for help, and we would 100% be there for him.
I know when you guys are in combat and you guys get confirmed kills, a lot of your jets will put a special sticker up somewhere on the actual airplane. On the times that you have had to intercept Santa, you guys have a special sticker that you put up, maybe a sleigh or maybe a picture of the big guy. What do you guys display on the jet when you've had that confirmed intercept?
You know what, Bobby? I'm going to say thanks to Portland for that, because that is a great idea. And I think something we should probably incorporate here in our headquarters. I have not heard that one yet, but I can't imagine our pilots would be anything but proud to wear that logo. So yeah, man, I'll look into that.
Awesome. Somebody here in the newsroom asked, so I had to make sure I relay that question. Speaking of Portland, here we have the 142nd Active Fighter Wing with the Oregon Air National Guard. They guard the United States West Coast from the Canada border all the way down to Northern California. We talked to them already. We know that they're on ready alert to help Santa. What do the little individual groups mean to you guys as the collective mission? Obviously, you're not going to necessarily scramble jets out of an Air Force base, but you're going to rely on the National Guard for certain sectors. What does that piece of the puzzle mean to you guys?
Hey, Bobby, you know that better than most people. I think you said it. Our headquarters is completely reliant on local units like yours to execute the mission for us. We are a binational headquarters. We have 9 services between Canada and the United States, from the Navy to the Space Force to the Army, all in one place to do this mission. But we can't do it unless units like yours there in Portland are able to meet that scramble call. And I just want to publicly say thanks to those units and the pilots and maintainers who make that mission happen, because it is a big ask, and they are on duty literally 24 hours a day. Somebody has to be on shift to take that call from our headquarters and make that intercept. And we're very proud of them, and very proud to be a part of that unit.
When you look back at all the missions that you have taken part in over the years that you have been with the Air Force and serving this country, can you think of anything that compares to what you see on Christmas Eve when you're trying to track Santa and trying to, make sure that he has what he needs to get the job done?
Absolutely not. This is a very, very special thing for all of us that are here volunteering, all of us that are here working in NORAD, to be able to really step back and take a look at the globe as a globe, a unified, a unified humanity that's rallying behind the Christmas spirit. We get calls here from literally all over the world, from Madagascar to Ukraine to right here in the United States and Canada. And it's heartwarming every time to be able to share a little bit of that giving spirit, a little bit about the Christmas spirit and what that represents.
When you go home to your family tonight, assuming that you have a family, what are you going to tell them? What do you have that conversation with the kids about what you've been able to see and what you've been able to do today?
It's amazing. I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old right now, so they are right in the heart of understanding the giving spirit that Christmas brings. And this gives me, being able to go to work on Christmas Eve and then come back to the kids and explain why we do that, gives me the perfect lead in to start to explain to them that human principle, that we are gratified by what we give in this world, not what we take. And the more you can orient yourself toward a giving posture, the happier your life is going to be. And if we can start getting that service element of their thinking into them now, when they're young, I just think they'll grow up into much better people.
Let's talk about Santa's technology in the sleigh because we hear a lot
Yeah.
about it. You mentioned how fast he's moving. Give me some of the specs of Santa's sleigh, and maybe is there something that you can compare to the modern fighter jet when it comes to looking at those two vehicles across the.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that, even though we think Santa's been flying that sleigh since about 343 AD, that a lot of the principles of aviation are there. He still has defense mechanisms on board. For him, it's reindeer antlers, and he doesn't use them often, but if he needed to plow through something to get to get to his house on time, he's going to do it. He's got propulsion just like a modern fighter jet does. His is significantly faster than ours. He's got sensors just like a modern fighter jet does, and he's got navigation systems. It's all very similar. His just adds that extra boost of magic, which makes everything next level compared to what we've got, here on Earth. But we're always trying to get better, and I'm sure he is too.
Maybe you can answer this question for me. Is there any idea how many jets you do have on alert, ready to go the moment Santa needs it?
You bet. So we tend to employ in 2 ships, and that's all I'm going to be able to say about our fighter laydown across the two major nations that play in NORAD. But just know that, as you know from being one of our major regions that we launch from, we have fighters everywhere, and we are ready to respond to anything that happens across the continent.
Is there any friendly competition between your U.S. forces and the Canadian forces? Who gets to interact with Santa more?
We never know where he's going to show up and slow down and allow for an intercept. So there's a little bit of banter back and forth, but overall, we're all pretty happy when anybody is able to make an intercept and escort of that sleigh. And I think that really speaks to the fact that NORAD is the world's example of true integration, like true integration, where the two countries are not just working together, not just flying together, but in a headquarters all day, every day, standing right next to each other and working across 2 enormous nations. It's a very special thing.
Let's talk a little bit about the launch sequence once you get the word from the North Pole that Santa's ready to go. Walk me through the first few steps that you guys are going through there in the Ops Center.
Absolutely. So we're going to start by turning to our satellites. You know, when he launches out of the North Pole, he flows down across Russia next to the international date line. If you can kind of picture that, that's pretty far away from our shores. And so our shore-based radars don't do much for us in that region. So we use infrared tracking. And in this case, what we noticed all the way back in 1955 is Rudolph's nose burns so hot, and that'll make sense. It's got to dissipate fog, right? So this is a very, very hot infrared source, very similar to a missile motor, which is what we're used to tracking. So those overhead satellites will pick it up, and we'll be able to use that to track him as he moves towards the United States and Canada. And as he gets closer to our shores, we'll pick him up on radar for a higher fidelity track. And then once he reaches that visual range, then we start launching fighters as we need to just check him out and see how he's doing.
Do you guys ever have to put out, say, like a temporary flight restriction around a certain area, knowing where he's going to be or trying to anticipate that track?
You know, we haven't had to because it's hard to even conceptualize the velocity difference between that sleigh and anything that we can conceive of, you know, here on Earth, right? So you can imagine a cheetah running around a turtle. We're the turtle, he's the cheetah. It doesn't matter where you point that turtle, the cheetah's going to get where it needs to go. And so that's sort of the situation with Santa here on Earth.
All right, last question for you, sir. As he approaches the United States, any operational or any type of delay that you anticipate him as he approaches the U.S. tonight?
Not at all. He's going to be on time, I promise. And so my message to all the kids out there, as you know, you can call 1-877 high NORAD for a personal update from our operations center. But what I'll tell you right now is be in bed by 9 o'clock because he's going to check. And if you're not in bed, he'll give you one more swing of the bat as he comes back around. And if you're not in bed by then, you might just get missed. So get to bed early, and Santa will be there.
Colonel Elliott, I really appreciate it. Thank you for a moment of your time tonight. Santa, thank you for your service, sir. Merry Christmas and good luck to everybody at NORAD tonight.
Thank you, Bobby. Merry Christmas back to you and everyone in Portland.